How's it going? It's Charles Botensten from Botensten Properties International. I just filmed this video just now and my microphone was actually off. So I filmed a beautiful 15-minute clip and I uploaded it to my computer and I noticed there was no sound. So this is me talking about the best and final offer and how to handle it, how to run it, what's the mindset to have, everything behind it. I've been in multiple best and finals. So we'll talk about the owner, and it's actually best to talk about how the owner and the listing agent are formulating the best and final offer, because on the buy side, you'll see how to win, the whole mindset behind it. So I just went through one of these. We got two offers on an apartment, very similar terms, cash at the asking price, sign immediately, close immediately, not much different. So I went to them and I went to the owner. I said, listen, we can't do a bidding war where you go, he's paying this, then they'll pay this, then they'll pay this, then they'll pay. Ultimately, someone's going to get either buyer's remorse because they felt like they overpaid, or the other person, the people are just going to get so mad. What? You just called me, you told me this, and then you called me and then you told. Listen, best and final is a great way to do it. Over 3 bids, I always do best and final. 2 bids, kind of shaky, but I always recommend it. So this is what you say to the buyers. You call them up. Hey, how's it going? Appreciate the offer. This is what we're going to do. So you always have a time frame. You always say by today at 5 p.m., by tomorrow at noon, by tomorrow at 5 p.m., submit your best offer. So in other words, if you have 3 offers, tomorrow at noon sounds right. The more offers you have, the longer the time frame. Don't really give more than 24 hours. Right now it's around 10 o'clock on Monday. So, or Thursday actually. So if we received all the offers today, say, listen, given all 10 o'clock on Thursday, give all of your offers, and say there's 5 or more, give all of your offers by noon tomorrow and we'll make a decision by 3 p.m. That's how you do it. You tell them when it's due, and obviously when say there's 10 offers, say by tomorrow at 5 p.m. Because 10 offers, you have to receive all of them, put them in order, find out, especially if it's a co-op, who's financially, this one is, this one's not, this one's all right. Ooh, I like the terms on that, but they're not really. Then you have to go over with the owner, which takes a long time. So you want to give yourself a time frame to review it with the owner, but then you also have to give a deadline to the buyers. And you tell them, we're going to review it with the owner for 3 hours or 2 hours, and then we're going to have a decision, and we're going to send out you give them all the terms. You're honest, 100% honest with all the timing. Ensure you have the timing before you even say it. There's no point in giving a deadline if the deadline doesn't stick. Like tomorrow by noon, or 1 or 2, you could give it in whenever, then credibility, trust just evaporates. So you say, hey, how's it going? Appreciate the offer. We have multiple offers. You don't have to give a number. We have multiple offers. We're going to have a best and final offer. You're going to have to give in all your revenue financial statement and all the terms, including your attorney, how you're going to finance, if you're going to finance, and obviously the price. The price is the apartment. The price and anything else that you want to include in the apartment, or to make it a little bit more of an incentive to the owner. So I'll talk about incentives later. So you say, here's the deadline, noon tomorrow. We're going to make a decision by 3 p.m. tomorrow. We're going to send out a contract. We're going to get the deal sheet together. We're going to send out a contract. You have 48 hours. You have to sign it by Thursday at 5 p.m. Oh, and by the way, we're going to send it out to the first person who won, and we'll obviously inform you. We're also going to send it out to the second person. The second person has no opportunity to return and win unless the Thursday at 5 p.m. deadline lapses. In other words, number 1, you have all the opportunity in the world to get in the contract and win and get the apartment by Thursday at 5 p.m. If it's 501 or 515 or 530, the second person who has also received the contract, and make sure you tell both parties. There's two contracts going out. There's a contract going out to the first person. They have 48 hours at those terms. You send out another contract. You have any time after those 48 hours lapsed, you have an opportunity to deliver a signed contract with the deposit to our attorney. And then after 5 p.m. on Thursday, or whatever the deadline is to deliver the contract back, you say, whoever is the first one, excuse me, whoever's the first one to actually put in a contract wins. That's the best way to do it. It's the only way to, well, there's other ways to do it where you only send out one contract, they have 48 hours. If they don't sign, then you send out another contract, they have 48 hours, and then you go all the way down the line. So, excuse me. So, whoa, the fall is coming. So you have so you call them. This is the most important phone call, or the most important part of the phone call. You call them, you tell them all the deadlines and everything else. Then you tell them, this is a best and final offer. This is the best and final offer you're going to give to the owner to get that apartment. We're not going to go back to you and say, hey, listen, this person paid this, will you pay this? This person gave this, will you pay that? We're not going to do that. So you give in your best offer. And this is very important. You tell on the listing agent, you tell this to the buyer, and if you're representing the buyer or you are the buyer, this is your mentality. And I always say this, give in an offer, give in your offer that if you found out the apartment went for $1,000 more, you'd be mad, but you wouldn't be that mad. You'd be like, you know what? I gave him the best offer. It went for $1,000. Congratulations. I'm mad for a week or mad for 2 weeks, but you know what? It is what it is. That's the mentality you have to have as a buyer. Give in the best offer that you can provide the owner. That if you found out that someone said, I'll close immediately, and you gave them a deadline, or the price, it went for $1,010,000 and you gave in $999, that you're like, you know what? That's fine. Yeah, it was $11,000 they won by, but they're also paying a mansion tax, and I didn't want to spend over $1 million. It would really push our finances, our monthly finances out a little too much. So put in an offer that is literally the best offer. And this is the way, as a buyer, you think about it. I cannot relate to people that buy things logically. I buy things that you will use in the future, and that is the best apartment. That apartment, you're already happy, but that apartment's going to make you happier. It's close to work, it's close to your gym, it's close to the highway, it has a doorman, it has a roof, it's got a beautiful interior. And I know I've talked about this in the past, but buy emotionally. Say, you know what, this is the best apartment. You're never going to get 100%. It's like dating. You're never going to get 100% in the person or in a relationship. You buy that apartment emotionally, or you date that person emotionally, and then you justify it logically. I don't understand buyers that I represent, and I try and say this. They're like, well, I feel like it's overpriced. I'm like, well, do you want the home? Yeah. Well, how bad? I really, really, really want that home. Well, so we're probably gonna have to pay a little bit more than you want, and you may actually feel you're not getting a deal or that it's overpriced. But to be honest, everything's been overpriced. If people knew the pricing in 2004, which is 10 years ago, what it is right now, they would say it's overpriced by a lot. People in 2004 would have said, people in 1994, wow, that's a bargain. People now looking at the prices of 2004 think it's a bargain. And if we see the prices in 2020, I'm going to be like, wow, that's a lot. You can really get that for this apartment? Everything at every time was overpriced. So that's one mentality. The other mentality is, if you really, 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 really want this apartment, why are you going to say no because of a cost? Yes, if it's unreasonable. I'm not saying if it's unreasonable. I'm saying if it's just beyond that. You know what? Listen, this is the apartment you wanted. Buy it. You know, I'm renting an apartment in the next, actually, in 6 days. I can't afford it. You know what, though? I really, really want it. And you know what? I'm going to make it work. I'm either going to cut back in some area of my life, or I'm going to make more money, or whatever the case is. I just really, really want this apartment because it has a huge outdoor space and I love to entertain. And the current apartment I'm at is the size of your gym bag. It's tiny. You can barely even put a gym bag in my apartment. It's that small. You know what? I love to entertain and I want to be on the west side. So that's what I did. You know, I am the perfect example. I can't afford it and I had to put down extra security. But you know what? I want the apartment. I'm going to take the apartment. Buy emotionally. And that's what you tell them as a buyer. Because there's nothing worse than losing a bidding war, which I've had the unfortunate opportunity, unfortunate circumstance to represent buyers that came back to me and were mad at me. So why didn't we win? Why didn't you tell me to put in a higher offer? You know, it doesn't always have to be a higher offer. This is also the mentality is, and listen, I'm fine if you put me at fault. You know, like obviously I work with you, but someone could have put in a ridiculous offer, or someone could have been cash and we were financing, or someone could have had better financials than us, or someone could have, and this is another way to get an apartment, someone could have paid their buyer's agent so it saved the owner the buyer's agent commission. That's a creative way. That's how we just won a bidding war. Very expensive apartment. The buyer said, listen, I really want this apartment. He looked at it like very expensive. The view on this is unbelievable. And I walked out. I remember we walk into the apartment and the buyer turns around and he goes, the listing agent did see it, but he goes, I want this place. And I'm like, okay, you know, pretend like we don't. We walked out. He said, I don't care. And that's the mentality you should have for the apartments that you want. I want it. Price, yes, sort of matters. But you know what? As long as you're happy in there, that's all that matters. So that's the way you should look at it. If you're like, you know what? It's a great apartment. If I win the bidding war or the best and final, that's cool. If not, whatever. Not a big deal. Then go 80%. But I'm talking about the ones that you really want. And accept it. Accept if you lose. That's the other mentality. The owner made the best decision that they could. Think about it. This is the biggest mindset that you have to go in. You want to get that apartment for as little as you can. The owner wants to get it for as much as they can. Think about it that way. Put yourself in the owner's shoes, and as an owner, put yourself in the buyer's shoes. So don't get offended at lowball offers, or don't get offended that during the best and final it didn't go to the price that you thought it would. Or as a buyer, they're just trying to get the best person. They're trying to sell their place in the fastest time at the best price. So have that mentality. The other mentality is, as I said it before, be honest and be truthful. It's the biggest thing. Credibility is everything in a best and final. If you have someone that comes in, number one, congratulations, you won. And by the way, just to go back, the buyer, the person in second place, this is what you always say. By the way, buyer, congratulations, buyer number one, we're going to send out a contract. You have 48 hours. You have to sign by then. And we're going to send out another contract. Be honest, and obviously talk it over with the owner. This isn't the only way to do it. But be honest and say, listen, we're going to send out another contract. It's yours until Thursday at 5 p.m. If you don't sign by Thursday at 5 p.m., we're going to have the opportunity, because we're sending out another contract, to go to the other buyer. Always be honest. And then you, inevitably, and you tell them to the first person, then you tell the second person, hi, how's it going? Unfortunately, we chose someone else. The good news is that we're actually going to send out a, what? You chose someone else? What are you talking about? And you're like, oh, here it comes. What did they get it for? What do I have to do? What do I have to do for the apartment? How much do I have to pay? 10,000 more? I'll pay 100,000 more. I'll pay $1 million. Listen, unfortunately, we went with someone else. And I know, and this is why the initial call about the bidding war, or I keep on saying bidding war, the initial call about the best and final is crucial. You have to lay the groundwork that says, give me your best offer. We're not going to go back and forth. Once you give that offer, it's final. That's why it's called your best offer, final offer. Best and final. It's your final offer. That's it. So you send out the contract at their terms, number one, and their terms, number two, because that's the best. Or you can send out the contract. If they don't sign it, say, listen, come up to this price, and then, which is the first person, then put that on the contract to the second person. That's one other way. But inevitably, the second person is always going to say, how do I win? How do I do it? I just had this. The first person that won was looking for 7 months. The second person who didn't win, who we chose the first person, the second person just lost the bidding war, actually. So this was their second one, their second best and final. The first one was actually bidding war. This was best and final. Bidding war is when you go, they're here, okay, I'll come up to here, then I'll come up to here, and then you just keep on. It's a bidding war. You're just going back and forth. I think it's never good. It never ends well. It's always ugly. The buyers are always too emotional. They're too attached. Then they get angry. Then they start blaming you for something because they feel like they're being overpriced. Then you get buyer's remorse. Huge, So always preface the second person and always have the mindset that the second person is going to say, how do I win? What do I need to do? What offer? What's the price? What are the terms that I need to come in at? So you always say, listen, unfortunately, you have to calm them down. It could be a 45-minute conversation. My last one was a 45-minute conversation with the second place person. I said, listen, if they don't sign, it's yours. The way we did it was we sent out a contract. If they didn't sign in 48 hours, we sent out another contract to the second person. And we were honest with both. The reason you need to be honest is because you lose credibility if the first person drops out. Say you tell the second person, hey, you lost. We're going with the first one. Best of luck, and we'll give you a call if it doesn't work out. What kind of obviously I was a little over the top and everything else, but don't have that mindset. The person put in an offer, respect the offer, and also on the who's to say they're not going to get buyer's remorse? Because the first person in a lot of the cases says, whoa, I won. Wonder what the second person came in. How much more did I come in? I don't know if I want this apartment. And then they start getting cold feet. So you want that second person in line. You even want the third person in line too. So best and final. By the way, as a buyer, creative ways to win best and finals. Obviously, the price is number one. 2 is when you're going to sign the contract. 3 is when you're going to close. Any contingencies, you know what? Keep all, I'll buy the furniture, or you could take the chandelier. We don't have any contingencies on to selling anything. You can pay as a buyer. You could pay the buyer's agent, and then you talk to the buyer's agent. Hey, listen. So that reduces the commission on the seller's side. There's multiple ways you can get a deal done that is in the interest of both parties. So be honest, be authentic. Credibility is everything. And obviously, trust is everything. So if you're authentic and you're honest, trust comes in. And that's the best way. So listen, it's very complicated, very emotional, best and final. I hope I gave a little bit of an insight onto it. I know I was all over the place, but if you have any questions, give me a call, give me a shout, drop a comment, whatever you want to do. It's a little misty day here in New York City. I'm on the 43rd floor. Any questions, let me know. Our company's favorite social media is Instagram. That's in the description below. And I'm going to be doing a video every weekday. If you have any questions, let me know. And obviously subscribe to the video because that's the easiest way to keep on seeing me. This is how I turn off. I have a nice iPhone that turns off the camera. So I'll see you guys tomorrow.